Thanks for joining me on Facebook and YouTube Live, and thanks as always to the sponsors, Cornerstone Business Solutions, Galaxy Blinds, Advanced Utility Solutions, Smith & Friends Estate Agents, Cleveland Systems Engineering, Dovecot, and TGM Cars. Today, well, it wasn't the ideal preparation. I mean, it was 10:30, I'm sitting having a coffee. I get a text saying Rob Edwards is more or less on his way. But why so long? It became a bit of a saga. It was like a soap opera. But hey, listen, people like saying Rob Edwards, he's a snake, he's a this, he's a that. The majority of people in football are that. There's loads of snakes. Boris had loads of snakes. You know, slippery, slimy, greasy, say things, kiss this, do that, and then they head off the next day. We've had loads of people caught with the pants down coming out of clubs when they're meant to love the club. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I'll tell you in a minute. But all that, but there's no law in football. I mean, Gary Monk was sacked after 20-odd games. That wasn't a lot of... Rodgers, we brought Rodgers in, 21 years of age. 6 months later, gone. So we didn't show him a lot of loyalty. We let him go, but we could have kept him and probably should have kept him. Gareth Southgate, sacked when he was 4th in the Championship. That I remember being there at the time and watching Gareth going in front of the press conference in the midweek after the game that he'd won. And I think we'd moved to second before 42nd. And then he was sacked the next day. We shouldn't have let him go in front of it. And then Janino and Ravanelli went, as soon as they had an opportunity, see you later, Middlesbrough. No loyalty. So this thing about Rob Edwards as if he's the only one. It's rubbish. It's business. There's no sentiment in business. That's a saying. And that's a true saying. Middlesbrough will benefit with more finance. They've kept the money because Rob Edwards has got no money because he's broke the contract, and Middlesbrough will get compensation. And there's a host of managers out there. Who's the managers? People saying Tony Mowbray, there's Russell Martin, he's the lad that was at Rangers, went to Brendan Rodgers, Gerrard, Gary O'Neill, Gordon Strachan. No, I'm joking. But there's loads of names out there. I don't know who wants to come or how much we've got to attract them, but there's loads of options to come into Middlesbrough and help us in this predicament at the minute. You know, some people are saying the lad, I'm not very good at pronunciation, the lad that was at cards today. It was a great... The game today, I'll tell you what we did today. I was concerned about it today. I thought, they've scored 8 goals in 2 games. We've scored 6 in 8 games. I thought they're going to be a difficult side, but we, from the off, attitude was fantastic. We were at them, we were in their faces, we challenged, we harassed, we did everything. So the attitude was great, the mentality was good, the fans were great. Behind the goal, it reminded me a wee bit of the Holgate, loads of colour, more people than ever, flags, singing the hats out, and got right behind the side. Obviously, a lot of the frustration was aimed at the departing manager, Rob Edwards, but part and parcel of the game, isn't it? But as I say, no sentiment in business, no surprise at anything in football. Mohammed says, hi, Bernard Joe 7, brilliant win. You can understand why Edwards gone, but good luck to him. Money talks. What was Ryan Robson doing with Gibble coming back? I think that was just, obviously he's had the invite from the chairman, which is nice. But it's funny how Robbo comes the day when Rob Edwards disappears, and then there's all this talk about managers. Now people putting 2 and 2 together and getting 10 and say Robbo's going to be the next manager. I don't believe that. Probably just an invite from Steve Gibson for Robbo to come to the game, which is nice. Matthew Smith says, good evening, Bernard. Good evening, Matthew. Managers and players come and go. What's left is the supporters. Always today, the fans were superb at the bar. They were, Matthew, and I mentioned that before you mentioned it. The fans were great today. Well done to them. Didn't drop their heads, sang throughout the game, got behind the team even when they equalised. And as I say, all the players stood up and be counted. I hope Dale Fry's okay. Scored the goal and then he got injured. And then the second goal was I thought it deflected off one of them, but Hackney got a touch to it. So he is now officially in 15 league games a top scorer with 3. Not great, but good for Hackney. But if I was a forward with less than 3 and Hackney's above me, I'd be concerned about my own standards. Rob Edwards has moved for family reasons. I'm not buying Mohammed, I'm not buying any of that. But I believe Wolves tap him up and he did the same. Next appointment is massive, mate. Who do you want in? Look, out of all the names that's been mentioned, I wouldn't touch Gerrard. I wouldn't touch Roger. I wouldn't touch the likes of Rooney or O'Neill. I wouldn't touch them. Me, I'd go for Brendan Rodgers. Why? Because he did it north and south of the border. He's won umpteen trophies in Scotland. I forgot how many. Very successful. But he's did it in England. Was it the FA Cup he won for Leicester? Got them into Europe for Leicester. He's been around the block. Liverpool for his second. They sold one of the staff players in January, I think it was. So he, for me, would be my number one. But what I've heard of Rodgers, he's the best coach around. But I've also heard he's got a bit of an ego, and maybe Middlesbrough's not big enough for him. Maybe he wants to go back to the Premier League. Bernie, what performance from the lads is with Steve May? Given the circumstances, we showed what it's like to play for the badge and the fans. Officiating in this league's diabolical. Needs changing. 3 points. We're on together. I'm not going to dwell on the referee. I didn't think it was a particularly good game. But I don't think it was a great game or we were wow or they were wow. I just thought we dogged determination. We did play with pride and wanted to win the game to show the fans that, listen, you're down as it is. We're going to lift your spirits. And yeah, it goes hand in hand. Why did we let him talk to Wolves? Obviously wants the millions in Compo. Don't give me, if he doesn't want to stay, let him go. It's nonsense, nearly as bad as saying we can concentrate on the league after being dumped out of the cup. Yeah. The thing is, Middlesbrough initially says he was going nowhere. They don't want the club they don't want Wolves talking to Rob Edwards. So the club's within their rights to do that. But Rob Edwards, it was within his rights to say, well, if you don't want me to talk to them or the club to come to me, I'm going to go to them. And we can't stop that, as far as I know. Obviously, Rob Edwards would get nothing for Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough would keep his wages, give it to somebody else that comes in, and get compensation. So Middlesbrough financially will earn a lot of money. And Big Rob Edwards will no doubt get a lot of money going to a Premier League club. Thoughts on Liam Rosenior, Bernie? I don't really got a lot of thought about Liam Rosenior. You tell me your thoughts and I'll feed off yours. Matt Sims says, I thought McGree done well today. If it could go, it could be a good asset to us going forward. Mark, first 25, half an hour, he's my star man. And his thighs, he's obviously been working terribly hard behind the scenes. His thighs are like that. Get Robbo back. Was sat with the boss today. Yeah, he's sat with the boss, but he ain't coming back. He's not even in the equation, I don't think. James Treathorn, is it Treathorn? The weird thing was that we might have not won if Edwards didn't disappear. I don't hold that much ill will. I'm guessing it was family decision rather than football. No. Listen, we had that with Matt Crooks. Matt Crooks wants to go abroad with his family. I heard they went abroad and his family didn't even go. They remained here. So that was hogwash, bullshit, spin. Call it what you want. You're under contract unless there's somebody probably in a bad way. That's the only way I would bow to that. If it's just, I've got family. Well, I'm sorry, you're a professional manager, coach, player. You have to bite the bullet and stay put. You know what football's about. It's part of it's travelling. No one is bigger than the club, but yeah, without a doubt. Bernie, who would be a next manager, says Brendan Rodgers, in my opinion, because he's done it north and south of the border. Gerard, Rangers won 1 in 9. The only reason he gets revered up there because he's Celtic getting the 10 in a row. So he's 1 in 9 is not successful in Scotland, and everybody calls it a Mickey Mouse League. And then he went to Aston Villa, faltered, went abroad, as far as I know, faltered, and now he's floating around. So I wouldn't go for Gerard. The name's there, but you need a lot of money to support him and back him. Otherwise, I don't think he would touch us. Brendan Rodgers, as I say, I hear he's got an ego, so maybe he thinks he's bigger than us and wants a Premier League team. There was no chance I said the other day on the live, there was no way he was going to go to Wolves if he was approached. Probably best move him going now than later. Recruitment brought players, not turkey teeth. They're no turkey teeth, they're nice teeth. Snake for months into the job. But Katie, you talk about Snake, right? This is where I sometimes don't understand when people call people snakes, like Rob Edwards, who I think is a gentleman and a lovely guy and big personality. Why is he a snake? Because he spoke to Wolves? I'll come back to that in a minute. What about Nigel Pearson? No, I'm not a big fan of Nigel's either. Is it true Brian Robson was sacked with Gibson? It was, Keith, but I don't read into that. Would it be ironic if Wolves finished bottom with the lowest ever Premier League points? Could happen. I have to question the big man's sanity going there in the first place. Bill Neal, give Eddie the job. He's the brains behind Edwards. I heard that. So Eddie's the guy that was on the touchline today. Whatever happens, the club have to keep Eddie no matter what. Well, I thought Eddie initially was Rob Edwards' choice, but I heard it wasn't. Maybe that's why he's still there. The players respect him and he's got the fans behind him. My man of the match was the fans. Unreal today. This is from Mo Cummins. Unreal today. We dug in today, got the result. Worst referee I've seen this season. International break. Now let's get someone to see the season out, i.e. Mugger. If I was short-term interim manager, I'd go for Tony Mowbray. Before Rob Edwards was employed, there was a few names getting branded. I sat with Mugger having a coffee, local, with Pally, my big mate, and we all chatted about who's next manager. And I says to Mugger, I wouldn't have you. And he went, thanks. But I meant it. At the time, I don't think the timing was right. I'm not a fan of people coming back. But Tony Mowbray at this minute in time, I believe he's willing to get back in the game. He's back. He went back in. Middlesbrough, at the minute, interim boss for now at the end of the season, I think would be ideal. And let's really cool down and think a way ahead who we're thinking are coming in long term. If Mugger does the business, then obviously we keep it. Liam Rosenior, I think a great move. Sorry, right. Liam Rosenior, I like the big man in front of the cameras. I like some of his teams that he managed, and why not? Why not? As I say, he's another name into the equation. But obviously you're not bothered. No. Liam Rosenior, I think a great move. Just wanted your thoughts, Bernard. But obviously, no. Sorry, Steve. No. I was trying to concentrate on other things and talk about Rob Edwards. No, Rosenior, he's been at a few clubs. I think he's done well wherever he's went. I think he holds himself well, carries himself well. He talks well in front of the cameras, and his teams play some good football. So I wouldn't write him out the question. So sorry for saying that initially. I've got a million things going through my head at the minute. I've just rushed in, so I still get this on. What happens to the current coaching staff? What the new manager want his own backroom staff? A new manager comes in. For me, he's at his strongest, a coach. He's at his strongest when he comes in. So Steve Gibson wants me, not that he want me, but if he wanted me, then I say I want my own coaching staff. I don't want a plant there or somebody that's been hanging around. I want who I want. Guys I trust and look at as they're going to benefit me and benefit the team, the club. I don't want people thrust upon me. Would Mugger come back if offered the job? If Mugger's 100%, I think Mugger would take the job. Yeah, I do. And I don't know. If I had a conversation with Mugger, I wouldn't be revealing on here. It'd be a private conversation. I'm only giving my gut. I think Mugger would take it. Mugger lives in the area, still lives in the area, goes to games, been at right few games this season. So the answer is yes. Carlos Coberin, mentioned by the media, Bernie. Would he fit well? Don't know a lot about him. Andrew Dakin says, would you take a young manager with Adi and Harry behind him? Maybe the likes of Alec Revel and Stevenage. See, there's a lot of names being branded about. I don't know a great deal about them. The ones that's the big names that's been round the block or in management and top jobs for the last few years, they're the guys I'm attracted to at the minute. They're out there. They come. I'm not saying they come for nothing, but you don't need to pay another club to get them. They're there. There's so many managers that's been at top clubs. I mean, Brendan Rodgers, Liverpool, Leicester, Celtic, big clubs, and did the business at the well. Liverpool finished second. If we are going for anyone, then surely Aaron Danks has to be top of the list. No, Aaron Danks, because he was at Middlesbrough. Danks was mentioned in the lounge today. Would he come back? Why would he leave where he is? Because he's going to be number one? Or is it a comfy job he's got? And Danks he knows the club. He's been here. He was here for a while. AD all the way. Contracts mean nothing, as we all know. I don't realise it. I didn't realise it when from players to managers, but money creates an awful animosity. The Newcastle debacle with Liverpool was pathetic. Honour and dedication means nothing. Now, Bernard, the old days have gone. Listen, there's no loyalty. Nobody gives a flying. Money, egos, corruption. It's all around money. And, you know, I says today, some people don't like him. I don't give a flying. I've got my opinion. Janino, people got him on a pedestal. And by the way, Janino, great individual, great human being. I know him. I knew of him. I know him. I've interviewed him. He's a great kid. Janino loved Borough. So much so he came back 3 times, but loved Borough that he left 2 times. But he loved Borough so much. One day he was in the papers, he loved Borough and wanted to come back. The next day he was caught coming out to Aston Villa with his pants down in the national papers. He said, "They're sneaky." So does anybody call him a snake? Or do we just bypass it as if it never happened? It did happen. It goes on in football. People talk behind each other's backs. Clubs do it. Clubs have got managers lined up before they sack a manager. Flip it. If Rob Edwards had won 2 and 14, he'd probably be gone. We'd soon get rid of him. As I say, we get rid of Gary Monk, 20-odd games. See you later, Gary. Sling your hook. So there's loads of things going. You know, people blame us. The 3 points we got deducted. Middlesbrough's fault. Didn't field the team. No, we didn't. We couldn't at the time. There was a pandemic, whatever. We went to court, we lost it. But we should have fielded the team. We're not squeaky clean. No club's squeaky clean. No business is squeaky clean. There's loads of skullduggery goes on and underhand things go on and people do things wrong and tap people. It's part of society, especially now. Years ago, it was a phone call or an email. Now it's everything. Jurgen Klopp. Oh, wait, man. Barry, come on. Give me a... How's Klopp going to come here? Do you think Brendan Rodgers would actually come to Borough? Lee. Do you know what? No, I don't. James Mill says Brendan Rodgers. I'm saying Brendan Rodgers. A guy in the lounge went, oh, shut up, Billy, Brendan Rodgers. I said, well, you tell me all them I've mentioned. Gerrard and Rooney and O'Neill and all these guys. Who's better than Brendan Rodgers? Who's got a better CV than Brendan Rodgers? He's won about 9, 12 trophies in Scotland. People say Mickey Mouse. Okay, then. He's went to Leicester, won was it an FA Cup and got them in Europe. He got Liverpool to second place despite being one of the top men sold, and I think it was a January window. He's been round the block. He knows the game. I know guys that's played under him. I'll not say who they are, but they played under him. And they tell me that he was the best coach they played under. So that would be the one. Out of all the rest of them, he's the one I would pick. Because he's got the CV to prove it. The other ones haven't. Gerrard's not got it. 1 trophy in 9 in Scotland. Nothing else on the back of that. Gary O'Neill, sacked at Wolves. Wolves try to get him back. That's a joke as well. Instead of Mugger, then how about Southgate as an interim manager? Well, Southgate could be an interim manager as well, but I like managers with personality and a bit of oomph about them. Gareth's a lovely man. Lovely man. And I wanted him to win the World Cup despite being non-England. I wanted him to win the World Cup. He's a great guy. But I like characters, and there's not a lot of characters in the game, and I don't think Gareth's not a true... I know it's about what you do in the park, but I like characters. Players like characters. I'm in a dressing room. I want a character manager. I don't want a bore. Somebody that's going to boot me up the backside, but a character can make me laugh now and again when things aren't going well, can motivate me. Fantastic performance today. Everyone pulling together. This is for Kipper, Tranter, the players and the... what's gone? Gary Monk had more money than any Borough manager, and he squandered it big time. 20-odd games. How do you know? If you give him time, how do you know he would have squandered it? We never give him enough time. 20 games. Excuse me. We don't need to look for anybody he took over today. But I don't think that's going to happen. Do you? Timmy, do you think this lad will stay put as number 1? Where are we? Do you think there should be a new rule out in the place to stop clubs poaching other teams' managers during the season? If a club decides to sack a manager, they can only replace him when already unemployed manager. It avoids everything that has happened over the... In theory, it's probably a good idea, but I don't think it'll happen. Look, clubs boot you out when you're not doing the business, and somebody that's doing the business can go to another club. It goes both ways. If a football club can't have it all their way, you know, as I say, Rodgers, 6 months, 21-year-old, 4-year contract, ready him in 6 months to cash in. We done that. The fans weren't happy, but we done it. And we never got in that top 6. And his last goal was against Chelsea in the semi-final. I remember it. He was just coming to the fore then. And he's been the star man, one of the star men in England. I'll keep Vivish, that's how you pronounce it, and waiting, give them till January. It's not the time for new faces, new ideas for the new backroom staff. Sean Cooter says, well done to Middlesbrough Football Club backroom staff too. I don't have any issue with Rob Edwards. If his decision personal and closer to home, let him go. But Steve Gibson deserves better, and so do the fans. When will we ever next will be in a good position? So I hope Gibble makes the right appointment too. This has got to be the right choice moving forwards. Gary Butterstaff says, at the end of the day, if a guy wants to work near his home and family, you can't complain. I think the club could have made a statement earlier. Fantastic opportunity for someone to take over. Look, the family issue. If there's something seriously going on in the family, I get that. But if it's just because I love my family, everybody loves their family. There's guys working the rigs every day of the week. They get good money, but they don't get enough more than and they work in the middle of an ocean. They don't get as much as managers who can jump in the flash cars or planes and go home and see the family. So I don't buy into that. As I say, Mark Crooks, I want to leave Middlesbrough. We went, on you go, Mark. He heads off. His family didn't even go with him. And then he comes back and joins Hull. You sign a contract, you stick to it. Unless there's real evidence, genuine evidence, and you can go, do you know what? I accept that. You've got a family issue. But if it's just, I miss my family, well, you jump in a plane, you jump in your flash car, your 80 grand car. I don't buy into that. Nonsense. As I say, the guys in the rigs have got families and wives and dogs and animals to look after, but they have to go and make the money. Should be in the contract, leave within the 12 months, you pay your wages back. Well, if you're doing it with managers, do it with players. Everybody cannot move then. Once you start the season, you don't move. Clubs aren't going to agree to that. He did squander it for a start of 15 million for a Sombalonga, 7 million for Fletcher, dear me, Fletcher. That's 2, but there's plenty more he wasted money on. Yeah, but hey, we signed Macaroni, people rave about Macaroni. He scored 8 goals. That was £1 million a goal. He wasn't a good striker. Alves, 12 million for Ian Bean. He wasn't a good striker. Michael Ricketts, don't know how much he cost. Can't believe we paid for him. Hopeless. Just dead. 6 million. Bamford, second time around, 6 million. We've had loads of duffers. Piero, 5 million under this regime. No, the manager, the backroom staff, the scouts. So we can go over old ground, but well said, Bernard. I don't know what I said, but I'm saying it anyway. Surely the snake will take the background staff with him to Wolves, so we will need someone who will bring their own people, and then that's how it works, doesn't it? Mo, that's what I would do. If I'm a young manager or a manager, and Steve Gibson comes to me, we director of football, whatever, or everybody, and they say, right, what are you looking for? I'll say, well, I want all my own staff. You're at your strongest then. I want more men. I don't want any plants or anybody that's going to carry stories about, or anybody that's been lingering around like a bad smell. We've had that for years. Jonathan Woodgate was in and out with managers and coaches, as was Leo Perkovic, in and out with managers and coaches, Ledbetter in there. It doesn't work. I'm always suspicious somebody stays at a club when the manager goes, or the coach, top coach. Number 1 coach goes and he's brought me in, I'm on my bike with him. Even if I'm not getting a job, I ain't going to linger around. And I think the club should clear the decks. Replying to Michael Good. Replying to Michael Good. Michael Good. Hi, Mickey. Just that. Sorry, I read the... where are we? I think the club should have a short list of Steven Gerrard, Steve Cooper, Brendan Rodgers, or give the coaching staff a few games to see how they get on. It's a very bitter pill to swallow with the way Edwards has used us. He knew when Middlesbrough was, or were, when he took the job. I hope he gets a very unpopular welcome when he next visits the Riverside. But as I say, we cherry pick. I've mentioned, I've gave you people like Janino, who is revered up here and loved, but he's a great player and everybody wanted to mother him and the opposition wanted to smother him, but he can cop his pants down. If you love somebody, you don't go and talk to somebody else. If you're with your missus, you don't go next door to see a bird next door because you love your missus. Well, if you love something, you don't go and talk to another club. Janino done it. People forget that. Don't want to remember, oh, we can't say that. Of course you can. Of course you can. I know the history of Middlesbrough. I did all the games. I'm still watching the games. 40 years I've been in Teesside. I know the background, the history of Middlesbrough. So don't kid us that Rob's estate and he's been the first snake that spoke to a club behind my back. What a load of old hogwash it is. You're easily kidded. But they weren't his background staff and they were picked for him. Yeah, well, Lee, I didn't know that. I thought this was Big Rob Edwards' staff, but seemingly it wasn't. So, given the start we have had, we are sitting second. We shouldn't be short of interested candidates. It's a big chance for... It's a great point, Mike. Usually a job comes up because the manager's faltered and the team are struggling. We're not that. We are up front. The last third, we're still struggling. We can't score goals. Centre-half scores a goal. Midfielder, Hackney, he sort of gets afflicted. He's getting back to goal. I think it was at McCready hit it, and he flicked his foot out, but he's back to goal and it's went in. Deflected, the keepers went the wrong way and it flew in. So a wee element of luck there. Well done to Hackney. But Hackney's top scorer with 3 goals. You know, guys like Conway and Strelick and Senny and all these guys who come off the bench. We need goals. And in the last third, we are still not creative and good enough with a final pass and not ruthless enough in around the box. I've said that in the lounge today. I've said it on here for 6-7 weeks. People shot me down. I've got a good defence. We need to score goals. Coventry are double the amount of goals now. Why don't we hire a Premier League number 2 assistant? What with Steve McClaren and Karanka? Dear God, man, you're winding me up. I don't even know that. Yeah, I'm not even... Come on. Karanka. Carragher and Steve McClaren, they were two boring managers that brought up, hey, Carragher got us promoted. Steve McClaren won us the first cup ever, but the football wasn't great. Come on. He's a snake. All the talk of what a brilliant club, fans, etc. He'll rue his choice, relegation for him, promotion for us. Yeah, but this player's done that. What a great club. And then they go and talk to the other clubs. Brendan Rodgers, if we can afford him. Yeah, that's... Well, listen, if Celtic can get Brendan Rodgers, because Celtic are notoriously known for not paying fantastic money. So Brendan Rodgers wouldn't have got the money he was on at Leicester. And I'm sure if he came to Middlesbrough, Steve Gibson would get the money. But I don't know if Steve Gibson is interested. I'm just giving my opinion. Then I'm sure we could afford more than Celtic, for sure. Mugger did all the spade work for Carragher to take on. Give it to Mugger. He can do it with this squad. I think whoever walks into this job, as I say, he's walking into a good squad, a well-positioned squad in the table. Hey, come on. What a job for anybody. Not for anybody, but somebody that we want. It's a great job. Part of Rob's crew. So Eddie's done a decent job today. Rob's crew. Championship, there'll be options. One of the worst refereeing performances I've ever seen. Oh, come on, forget about the referees. We concentrate on the football. Rats let him end up with absolute nothing. That's for Robert Suggett. So he's a rat now. Paul Ronald says, great win today. We needed that after this break. I've had Rodgers in a heartbeat. He's been there and done it. He has. The reason for the fans saying Snake Bernie is Edwards came with his nice clobber and his smiley white teeth saying, I have to pinch myself, sit in my office. And at the first chance drops us like a bad toy. If being close to his family is the reason, why take the job in the first place? I don't buy into that. I'm not being kidded with that. Sorry. Why take the job in the first place? Give Eddie the job till January and see what happens. So that's a nice way of putting it. But as I say, regarding family, if it's an illness or something serious, I would bow to that if I was a chairman or a chief exec. But if it's just, oh, my family, everybody misses their family. I say the guys in the rigs miss their family. Guys work millions of miles away. Flights every 6 weeks. Brendan Rodgers, you need a shake of the head. Joe, you tell me who you want, Joe. And I'll tell you if you need a shake of the head. So Brendan Rodgers is the most successful out of everybody I mentioned. Tell me who's most successful, Joe. You're saying Brendan Rodgers, I need to shake my head. You tell me who's better than Brendan Rodgers out of the ones I mentioned. And then I can assure you, you'll shake your head. You should take your head off. Do not take Russell Martin. No, I mentioned Russell Martin. By the way, I wouldn't have touched Russell Martin. Why? Because I watched interviews when he was at Rangers. He blamed everybody but himself. He looked as if he loved himself. He had an arrogance about him. I just didn't like him. He was charmless. Everything was everybody else's fault. Didn't like him. Real chip in the shoulder, him. So personality-wise, I wouldn't touch him. Dave Challoner would be a good shout. A decent rise up the leagues. Pools and Stockport. What's your thought? Well, hey, look, it's not a bad idea, but I still wouldn't override some of the big names that's unemployed at the minute. We don't need anyone returning for a second go. New face, new empty. I agree with that as well. I'm not a fan of bringing people back. He's questioned Bernie Joseph Slavin. Do you want Wolves to go down? I don't give a flying about Wolves. Listen, I'm not bothered about Wolves. Don't give a damn. Rob Edwards is gone now. I'm not bothered about Rob Edwards. Sorry, Bernie. I know Mugger is a lovely bloke and a big mate of yours. As a player, he was a legend, but he should not be allowed to manage again. He's not good enough. Sorry, mate. What's your opinion? He's not good enough. I'm sure he is. He's still a modern day manager and he's still been at loads of clubs. For me, get the worst deal of all at Middlesbrough. If I was him, despite being a Middlesbrough lad and loving his hat with Middlesbrough and captain of Middlesbrough, I wouldn't come back to Middlesbrough because he's shitting me first time round. I wouldn't come back. So if that was me, but Mugger's a different animal for me, different mindset. Mugger's a more calm, cool customer, deep thinking Mugger, calculated. Mugger might say no, even if he was approached, but I'm not a fan of people coming back. Player, management, coaches. If you move for a reason. You move because you want to play in a better team or a better division and earn more money. And then if it doesn't work out, you come back to us. No, I keep saying it. We're not a charity club. We're Middlesbrough. If you want to move, see you later. As soon as I heard Rob Edwards could be got to Wolves, see you later, big man. You're a nice guy, but see you later. Easy as that. We say about players, why not about coaches and managers? I've worked away for years and missed my family, and I wasn't on as much money as it. So there, Jed, I get the working class because I'm from working class and a council estate, and I've got mates that work hard, and some of them work away. So anybody come up with this bull, you're easily kidded. Rob Edwards wants to go back to Wales because of his family. Bullshit. If there was something wrong with his family, I don't believe there is, and I pray to God nothing happens to him. If it's just all because of his family, everybody misses a family that works abroad and on the rides and all these places. So don't buy into that rubbish. He's a football manager, football coach. Gerrard, if we keep hold of Eddie. But David, what's the attraction with Gerrard? Is it his name? You need money to go with his name. When Brian Robson came in, he was a novice. He came in, but his name attracted players initially, and then Steve Gibson backed him with a financial structure and said, there you go, Robbo, plenty of money, bring in the biggest names in the game. And we've done that. I don't think the money's here. I don't think Gerrard would get the money that Rob will go for sure. I think that's impossible. I don't think we've got it. I don't think we'd want to spend it anyway. So I don't see Gerrard coming back. And as I say, Gerrard, what has he done to get a job at Middlesbrough? One league title in Glasgow, which is meant to be a Mickey Mouse league. 1 out of 9 trophies. The whole thing about Gerrard being a hero up there is because he stopped Celtic getting the 10. There's no other reason. 1 trophy in 9. Come on. And then he went to Villa and faltered, and he went abroad. I don't know what he done over there. Edwards totally disrespect out the club in Gibble. Edwards, this is for Mark Davies. Edwards total disrespected our club, and Gibble. Yeah, that's fair enough. But listen, I'm sure we've done that to players as well, and managers over the years. It's a two-way thing here. Because we're Borough fans, we don't care when a player leaves, oh, see you later, he wanted away. That's not always the case. It's not always the case. I was disrespected with Middlesbrough. I'd scored plenty of goals, fitter than anybody, and they got rid of me like that because I had an opinion, because I opened my mouth. I was still good enough to play. So I was disrespected to a degree. But I still love Middlesbrough. I've got over it. I don't hold grudges. I maybe did back then, but I'm a wee bit older and wiser now. You're good at holding grudges. Get over it. Get on with it. Pay the commo to Matt Robbins and get him. I like Matt Robbins. He's a good name. He didn't miss his family when he was at Luton. No, but I've said it all day. I'm fed up saying that, Gramps. Cal Weldo says, Eddie just spoke really well. He did. I seen a wee clip in the club before he came out and he spoke well. Tata, Rob Edwards, we move on. We do. Football. Mike Keaton says, the only ones that's loyal is the chairman, Steve Gibson, and the fans. Coaches, chief execs, players, sporting directors, I was going to say psychiatrists, psychologists, all that mob. They don't give it. It's a job for them. Fans and Gibble, they're the only two. We wouldn't have took the job. He wouldn't have took the job in the first place if he knew he was going to get homesick. He's gone for more money, not family. Of course he is. Look how bad we treat. Well, not yeah. There's a point. So I love Middlesbrough, but I'm a realist. I'm not a fantasy. I'm not scared to give my mind. Warnock. We phoned him. We didn't tell him to his face. Where's the respect there? Has that not been a snake? Come on. Borough fans, it's Colin Big Rob, this, that, and the other, and everybody's to blame. Neil Warnock, and when he went back to clear his desk, he wasn't allowed in. He was stopped with the guy at the gate saying, you're not clearing your desk, you can't go in there. We phoned him. What about getting him in the office? Listen, we're going to sack you. We don't want the confrontation. Why not? He's not going to box. He's a good talker, Warnock. He's as sharp as a razor. So we've done wrong as well. Everybody does wrong in the workplace. Please not Southgate, no. We did it in the downstairs, made more appearances than expected. Once you have to, I don't really know what that is. Downing, Leslie Coates says Downing. Give Eddie 100%. Just see the press conference. Yeah, he talks well, he does. I've seen him, but one game, come on. Well, I'm going to get beat today, so you see, get rid of him. I hope Wolves go down and hope he gets a sack and they get beaten by Chelsea tonight. Daniel Jones. So Daniel, regular contributor, hope they get done tonight. Yeah, 8 o'clock kickoff. David Andrews says, Brian Robson taking over Bernie. Why else would he be here? Listen, David, I like here with a donkey of your choice. Robbo would have been invited as a guest of Steve Gibson, probably staying up here in his stately home and have a good time because they are pals now. They fell up for a while. That was well documented. They're big pals again. And it's nice for Steve Gibson to remember people and bring them back and have a, 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 social chat with them and a meal and a drink. It's great. Gerrard isn't good enough. Without a doubt. He's not got a CV to show you he's got a good track record. Norwich just sacked Liam Manning, have they? Ian May. Lee says, Liam Manning just been sacked by Norwich. Yeah, thanks for that. Chris McGlade, hiya, Chris. I've just watched Eddie's press conference. He was fabulous, given the job. Chris, one interview, 1-1 does not get you a job in the game. Surely to goodness. What if we get beat today and they didn't talk well? Do we say get rid of him? Look, maybe let him settle. The club know him better than me. I only see him for out here, like yous. I don't know how good he is behind the scenes. Steve Gibson might think he's the answer. I don't know. Gerard's got a better managerial record than Edwards. Has he? Edwards got 2 promotions, didn't he? Was it 2 or 3 promotions? How many promotions has Gerard had, John? Tell me that. Harry Cockrell says, replying to Chris McGlade. Chris McGlade, was that thank you and goodbye, though? Yes. Mo Cummins says, so people are saying Rob Edwards didn't pick that backroom staff. So who did? And who would take a job not knowing anything about who you are working with? There is a few in the modern game do that, Mo. I think there's more than a few. I know guys that's been involved in that carry on shenanigans. Do you think he will try and raid our squad in January transfer window, Sarah Robinson? Well, I think with what's going on and the way he's done it, I think Steve Gibson wouldn't sell anybody to Wolves. I don't think he would. John Doherty says Gerard got a trophy. Yeah, Rangers. 1 in 9. 1 in 9 in the Mickey Mouse League. Is that good? I thought it was Mickey Mouse football up there. That's you that keep telling us that. Bernie, thoughts on Ravanelli? Great striker. Loved the celebration. 6-pack over the head. Character. Loved him. As a manager, oh, he's no history as a manager. It's like me sitting here talking about it. I've no history as a manager. So I don't really get this fixation. Get Ravanelli, get Gino. I don't get it. So the answer's no. And he jumped ship. In all honesty, I think Vivish has been the brains behind the scene, not Edwards. Well, people were telling me that, Lee. They were saying that start of the season. But you need a good guy like Vivish behind the coach, the figurehead. In all honesty, good one today for the Borough. Yeah, it was that, Dan. Jason says, second league got to, where are we? Second league got to aim higher than Edwards' assistant. Rogers is the shout. Ian jumped in, sorry. Great result after the last 48 hours. Going to celebrate with Hadji. Oh, he's in Romania. Lee Davies, don't you fancy giving it a go, Bernie? Away, Lynn. Away. I'd last 2 minutes. I couldn't work under the way the modern game is. Dear God, imagine somebody telling you what to do and who to pick and who to bring in and who you're selling. Not for me, sorry. Ravanelli 6-pack. What a 6-pack. The Rav shot over the head. What a celebration. That was my favourite celebration. 2-1 to the Arsenal. Oh, they're going to. Oh, they're beating Sunderland. Well done, Leslie. Steve Daly says, we need to approach someone in a job doing well, just like Wolves have. It's time to stop having the nicey approach. Screw them for the best man. It's a dog eat dog, isn't it? It's dog eat dog world. We all presume Mr. Edwards was happy with his job, yet we find out backroom staff not his choice. I suspect he had no say in any of the new players, and he struggled with his front line. By the way, it's a fair point. Our front line, Rob Edwards is not stupid. Our front line is simply not good enough. Our creative wide men is not good enough. Up front, we are not good enough. The goal stats return tells you that. 15 games, forwards have got 2 goals. Hackney's our top scorer with 3, who's not really noted for scoring double figures in a season. That's where it's going to falter. We can have the new manager in, but we're going to have the same problems and issues. In the last third, we are simply not good enough. I don't like saying it, but you look at the top of the league team, Coventry. They've got double the amount of goals we've got, and they've only let maybe a couple of goals more than us. So they've got it right at both ends. I keep saying it on here, but the day they get out, because they've got goal scorers, today they're away to Stockton to win 1-0. I know they won, but they got a goal. Other weeks have scored goals for fun. We've not got nobody you can hang your hat on. I was with Palace the other day. Got a pass and I'm saying, do you know what, Pally? I look at it and he agreed about our problems in the last third, the opponent's last third. I says, I bet you looked at me with Mugger and the lads and say, Bernie's having another nightmare. But you know what? He's just like him, we get a goal. Because I would do that. I could have a nightmare for 89 minutes and score the winner. We have not got a player like that. We've not got somebody that's prolific. When Strelic plays, and he was on the bench today, when he plays, he's isolated up front of his own. I keep describing Conway as a hosepipe. He just goes where he wants. The game plan and shape goes out the window. Strelic's up front must be thinking, what am I doing up here? I've no help. I'm not getting service. My striking partner's disappeared. He's away down into the opponent's half. What's that all about? Our half, rather. Did hear last night, the Hignett said that Eddie doesn't want to be figurehead. Well, it's hearsay, but maybe Eddie doesn't. But if Eddie is connected with Rob Edwards, I don't think he would want it. You know, we're surmising that Eddie was brought in with the club as opposed to Rob Edwards. But if I was Eddie and I was brought in with Rob Edwards, I would be going with Rob Edwards. I would. Because I would be supporting him because he's the guy that picked me. But if that's not the case, then I can see the next appointment being a totally unexpected one. An ex-player, someone like Boateng or Howson. Ian Mayer. As your opinion, Ian, I don't think that'll be the case. Don't forget, we've got Rob Edwards' money that we were paying him weekly or monthly, whatever. No doubt handsome money, wages. We've got that because Rob Edwards goes away empty-handed with nothing. So we've got that to pay the next guy, and we get the compensation because he's broke the contract. So we're getting plenty of money, so we need to spend it wisely. How does a new player feel if a manager signs, then the manager leaves the club? There's a good point. If the fans feel betrayed, how do you... If Rob Edwards signed me and says, well, no, here we go. No. I've changed my mind process. Kipper, Rob Edwards doesn't sign anybody. He might have a wee say. It's the sporting director that picks the players. How do you think Warner and Wilder, how do you think they all fell out of the club and headed off for pastures new? Because they weren't in control of they were in control of who they picked, but they didn't bring the players in. But they had the right to pick the team and train the team, but they didn't necessarily bring the players in and didn't sell the players. That's down to the other guys. That's the way it operates. So how does the new player feel? Well, he'll feel gutted because he's come in and thought, hey, this is a good club. He's a good man. Rob Edwards is a good guy. Rob Edwards is radiant. Rob Edwards he's charismatic. Good talker, good communicator. Changed the dynamics of your team, got us into a great position, and he's left. But he may be thinking like myself, thinking, how am I going to change up front? I'm not responsible for any of these guys, and none of them's good enough. How do you know he's not thought that? Saying that, he's going to a team that's rock bottom of the Premier League. It doesn't. In his mind, he'll think he can change that. Personally, I don't think he can. I think Big Rob needs to be looked at now, his mind, because I think he's lost his marbles. Going to that team, leaving second Club Middlesbrough with a chairman like Steve Gibson, and got the team into a good position. The fans have taken to him, and he goes to Wolves, who's in turmoil. I don't get it personally. I think it's a wrong move for him. We can't score, but by far the best midfield in the division. Fact. Well, how do you define what's the best midfield? I would say with goals against and goals going forward. Midfielders have to score goals. Today, Hackney, Morris, Brown, they had 4, but they were 3 of them. I still think we could do without one of them. A more attacking minded player that gets more goals. Steve Daly says, I'm just dissatisfied. Like all Boris was, Edwards talks the talk, lets people hear what they want to hear, then stabs everyone in the back. I've been in motor trade for years. You know about stabbing in the back then, Steve. I've been in motor trade for years. Typical salesman tactic. Well, there you go, you're admitting it. All backroom staff will go. Fresh start, but not panicking. Scoring strikers are supplying wingers needed as soon as possible, without a doubt. You don't get top strikers without paying the money, so I don't know what financial structure is. But the wide men, I said this the other day to my son, we've got Whittaker on the wing. He's not a winger. He's lightweight. Doesn't really make a big impression. Scored a couple of goals, so he's second top scorer, despite fans not taking to him. But maybe he's not the problem. Maybe it's us, Middlesbrough. He scored 19 goals for Plymouth Argyle, a struggling side. Plymouth Argyle is a number 10. I'm led to believe. I didn't watch all his goals in his game, but I'm led to believe. So why don't we give him the opportunity to play him in his rightful position, go and enjoy it? You'll not get clattered about, come into no man's land, pick up the ball, go to defenders, start hitting a few shots, get a few more goals, and boost your confidence. So maybe we're the problem with him. Strelic's come in, not kicked his backside. I don't blame Strelic. I blame the way we play. His partner in crime, Conway, runs here, there, everywhere. Doesn't give him any support, any backing. Doesn't walk and toe with him. And he's like a, yeah. I don't want to say the words I'm thinking, but he's isolated up front in his own. Is it a coincidence with Rob being there today? Rob Pendington? Sorry, pronunciation. Rob, I think it's a coincidence. Yeah. I would like Vivesh to stay in some capacity. Would Mowbray want it? I don't know the answer to that. I'm pally with Mugger, but I think he wants back in the game, but I don't know if he'd want Middlesbrough job. I'm glad I've got me dodgy fire stick. Leslie, give Big Eddie the job. So a lot of people, Andy saying, Andy McClay saying, give Big Eddie the job. Kev Mansfield says, Edward's gone, 3 points on the board. Happy days, pre-season. We got trumped. Then the season starts. Wow, we look good. Dedication's a big thing. Contracts are a waste of time. Nice to say no is brilliant and then collapse. Money changes a lot of people. Falseness is nowhere near honesty. The circus goes on yet again up the borough. Totally agree, Kev, with everything you say. You know, players kiss the badge today, they go tomorrow. Players always love you, see you, they head off, the pastures new. Managers, coaches are all the same. There's only the fans that stay loyal and stay put. They don't switch allegiances. Even all these people like vote for what? 1 minute they're this, the next minute they jump ship and support that, and then they go to another party. They're all false as well. Believe none of them. Believe what they do in the fields and how long they're at the club. There's no stability. There's no loyalty. I was with a guy last week at my do, the 40th, in the town hall, George Friend. 8 years. I spent 8 years. He was 8 years. He's one of the few at Middlesbrough that was loyal and successful at Middlesbrough and loved the club more than shot with pride. The local lads do it. Fry wears it with pride without a shadow of a doubt. There's too many wear it just like pulling on your working gear. And then if you get another job and a better offer, see you later. You look at the guys of the past, way before I played, but I know the history. Guys like, not so much Cloughie, but Camsell, Fenton. I've talked a long time ago. Mills. Well, Mills went to West Brom. He was Britain's most expensive player, 500 grand. I think it was Ron Atkins that signed him. But he was bought, and Middlesbrough needed money at the time. But you look away back, Mannion. They were all, Alan Peacock, God rest him. Stewie, but they were all here for years. We're talking 11, 12, 13, 14 years. That doesn't happen now. First opportunity, Ravenel and Gennaro jump ship. See you later. Oh, we want to play in the World Cup. We need to move club. It's a cop-out. You still get the World Cup. So, Gibble generally hires managers who are out of a job. He should use some of his compensation money to poach a club manager. I would agree with that. We've got compensation when we didn't think we were getting it. It's a win-win situation financially. When Robert got the job at Borough, Wolves were the other club in for him as manager. Sir Alec Ferguson for Trevor Chavel. Sir Alec Ferguson told him, don't pick the club, pick the chairman. Edwards a fool for moving. I personally think he is. I don't see the distraction. From a professional point of view and looking at Wolves, they're in turmoil. They sack managers for fun. The chairman seems to be a bit of a rogue. We're all moaning about these managers at the Borough, but in the end, Mr. Gibson picks them. Massive decisions to make. We need experienced man with good track record. I'd go for Brendan Rodgers. So actually, Paul Dressler, he would go for Brendan Rodgers. I'm not here to persuade or dissuade. People asked me today in the lounge, Legends Lounge, which I host. I gave my honest opinion. One guy tried to shoot me down. I says, who's yours? He went, you. Obviously, the drink kicked in. But Brendan Rodgers, tell me who's got better CV than Brendan Rodgers is out there. Please tell me while we're on here so I can read it out. Put your name and I'll tell you. I'll read it out and probably disagree. Me and you have something in common, Billy. We both never pay to watch a game. What you on about? I've got Sky. What you on about, Leslie? In reality, Borough can do nothing to keep a manager who doesn't want to be there. Get as much comfort as possible and move on. But I thought that's right. We says we're not letting Wolves talk to Rob Edwards. But Rob Edwards has went, well, you're not letting me or them talk to me, well, I'm going to talk to them. He's entitled to do that. Hackney showed loyalty in the summer. Yes, Andy, he did, 200%. But the club's never. The club's put it into the public arena. We've agreed. Didn't even consult or hear what Hackney's got to say about it. And Hackney's went, up, I ain't moving. Brilliant. Well done, Aidan Hackney. I love him for it. He thought it'd be. How is it in the public domain that Middlesbrough, our club, Hackney's club, local lad, how is it in the public arena that these clubs have agreed a deal when Hackney hasn't agreed anything? For me, that was embarrassing. That's disrespectful to Hackney. I don't care who's watching this. That's right. You don't put anything out there till you've confronted the player. If he doesn't want to go, the deal's off, and it was off. Maybe Middlesbrough were gutted. Oh no, we need to keep Hackney. We're going to 20 million for the kid. He might get injured. He might be lost form. Nobody. But Hackney obviously rates himself higher than Ipswich, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't have went to Ipswich. They're not pulling up trees. Lots of young coaches in Portugal. A bit of a gamble, like I say, Arthur Bainbridge. Mike Green says, if the club wants Rodgers, I think they need to move quick, as I think he will have offer from the Premier League. Well, Rodgers will be back in the game. There's no doubt it'll be in England, without a shadow of a doubt. He would be the man, without a doubt. And don't forget, he's done it. He's got a great CV. He's done it in England. He's done it north of the border. And he's vastly experienced. And I know guys that's played under him and said, and by the way, some of the players he's get rid of, so the players could have a wee bit and say, oh, he's a tosser. They say, best coach ever. Meant to be a great coach. But he has got a bit of is it an ego or a self thing? He's got a bit of that. But I think you need that. Brendan Rodgers will want European football and won't come to Borough. Okay then. Here's a word with Gibbo, Steve Gibson. Steve, back me the hilt. I'll get his promotion. I'll get in the Premier League. I'll use all my knowledge. I'll use my contacts. You back me. We'll get him in January, get promoted, and then you support me. And find the money for somewhere now in Europe. And by the way, Middlesbrough's get more money than Celtic. English clubs are, well, notoriously known for more money than Scottish clubs. Scottish football at the minute is on its ass. I watched Celtic during the week getting battered by a team I'd never heard of. I watched Rangers getting blown away with a good team in Roma. Could have got beat 4 or 5. Scottish football's gone. Hearts are top. Hey, and I want Celtic to win it. Obviously, being for the other side of Glasgow, but if Hearts won it, good luck to them. You know, it'd be nice to see that mould being brought where every year for 15, 20 years, Celtic Rangers won it. It's boring, repetitive. Tony Mowbray should be considered as manager or consultant. Jeff, I would have him as director of football. I'm not trying to get rid of Kieran Scott. This year he's delved in well and supplied well, but I heard somebody on here, can't remember the lad's name, was it Mohammed? He mentioned about the director of football going to Wolves before Rob Edwards was named. Maybe he will follow him. Maybe Mugger will become director of football. I'd rather have somebody like Tony Mowbray who's played, coached and managed being the director of football when he totally understands the coach's mindset and be a bit kinder and more supportive. The director of football up and down the country get away with murder. They give donkeys to the coaches get sacked and they hide under the bed for a while. And then come to the surface and sign in a few players. Hackney showed his true colours, proper Teessider loyalty. Yeah, but we were willing to get rid of him. So well done to Hackney. Brilliant. John Doherty said, Brendan Rodgers only has an FA Cup win. If we're saying Scotland's Mighty Mouse. Hold on. Brendan Rodgers has only got an FA Cup win. How many Steven Gerrard had in England? Because you're a Steven Gerrard fan, John. How many has he had in England? And has Steven Gerrard ever got a club into Europe? Brendan Rodgers did. Obviously with the Cup, European football. And they did the dirt on Brendan Rodgers there. They got rid of a couple of star players. I think the goalkeeper was one of them. Matthew Smith says, forgive my possible ignorance, but would Brendan Rodgers consider coming to a Championship club? Matthew, I don't think he would. But we have to aim high. If we've got a bit of money there with the compensation, why not push the button and get somebody who has a good CV that's out a job? You're not paying for him. You're not robbing him for another club. He's there. He's got the stats to back it up. Why would we hesitate? Rodgers will never come to Borough. Eddie should be given the job, but we don't know if he's tried. So, you say the mould of 15 to 20 years won the league last time was 1985 in Aberdeen. 1985, wow. How time flies, Leslie? Alec Ferguson, dear me, Alec Ferguson's last guy. No, I don't believe that. Steve Cooper, give him a go. More Cummins. Steve Cooper's he's another name that should be in the mix. Not as successful as Rodgers, but he's done well. He seems to be a good man manager with the players. The players seem to love him. But again, at Forest, he was done with the director of football, giving them some duff footballers. I think that was part of the problem, and he rebelled. Gary Finnegan says, Eddie is the one who got us where we are. Let's assign him full time. So let's sign him full time. So Gary's saying, let's. Big Eddie's had a lot of support. Look, he looks a lovely guy. I met him last week. I shook his hand. Don't know a great deal about his background, but came across as a nice guy. The players have got respect, what I can see, the outside looking in. But 1-1, and we a lot of people are surmising, and we're only surmising, that he's the brains behind Rob Edwards. Well, we'll find out. If we give him the job, we'll find out, won't we? If he goes on a run of 15 games, you think, wow, he is the brains. If we get done 15, you might think. I think the club, this is for Jonathan Mank, I think the club should have a short list of Steven Gerrard, Steve Cooper, Brendan Rodgers, or give the coaching staff a few games and see how they get on. It's a very bitter pill to swallow with the way Edwards has used us. He knew where Middlesbrough was when he took the job. I hope he gets very unpopular. He will. Has anyone mentioned Alan Curbishley? Alan Curbishley. He went out of the games years ago, didn't he, George? Curbishley. Is that a lad that was at Charlton? He's been out of the game for about 20 years. Steve Cooper is who I wanted. First time definitely should be in the mix. Well, do you know who I wanted before I wanted Rob Edwards? The lad that's at Rangers. I wanted him. He would have been my choice. Cooper was mentioned. He would have been up there. But the lad that's at Rangers now, I'd have went for him. Dean Smith from Charn FC. Bring him over with Addison, Malanda in January. Arthur Bainbridge says a player manager would be different. Steve Daly says respect for the boss is paramount to get promotion. You know, I looked at the players today and I was thinking how they would think. By the way, if I overshot the runways at an hour gone, it's 7:30 now. I started at 6. Another 5 minutes. I've not read any of them. I'll read them out in my podcast. Where was I? I don't know where I was. I've lost my train of thought. I play my sure you would have played against Vivish when he was at Swindon. Do you know what? I think you're right, Lee. Somebody told me that the other night. You're right. He did. I wish I'd get more time talking to him. I didn't even talk to some of the lads I've known for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. But I just did a brief talk, introduced himself, shook hands. That was it. Respect for the boss, paramount. Yeah, I thought, but getting into the game today, me getting into the game is just a pundit talking on here and down the lounge. I was thinking, how are the players feeling? A lot of those guys would have loved Rob Edwards. The guys that played regular would have loved Rob Edwards. I heard they did. I love Bruce Rioch. I remember Bruce Rioch coming in at Maiden Castle in Durham and telling us that he'd been sacked. I was absolutely gutted, distraught. Bruce Rioch was one of the biggest reasons I made it at Middlesbrough, scoring goals and waking me up and telling me what to do and what I shouldn't do and keep me in the straight and narrow. That was hard to probably to sort out. And Bruce, he came for his father, late father was a lieutenant sergeant in the army, whatever. And he disciplined me. You shave, make you be in time. So he taught me punctuality, shave, be clean, when to pass it, when to shoot, practice my head. And but when he lost his job, I was absolutely gutted. A lot of the lads were. I could have quite easily shed a tear. I probably did. And the lads today, to come through that and go out and perform the way they did today is fantastic. It's credit to them. Because a lot of the lads that played under, although it's only a short period, they would have been looking at him and thinking, we're gutted you've left, big man. But they went out, rolled their sleeves up and thought, right, let's do it for the fans. And they did. The fans gave it back. I thought the fans were brilliant today. It made them a bit of the Holgate. behind the goal, there's usually a healthy crowd and a noisy crowd, but it seemed to be right across. There was more flags, more banners. I've always shot the runway, haven't I? Yeah. Stevie G for me up the borough. So Aaron says Stevie G, obviously Stephen Gerrard. Lisa Parker says Hackney and Brown were class of day. Shame Danny Roll ain't available. Yeah, Danny Roll. Steve Daly says, nice one, Bernie. Have a good night. Cheers, Steve. Gary Staff says, head coach or manager, what do you think we need, Bernie? I'm still, call me old school, old, whatever. I'm still the guy who's in charge of the team. Please, he's number one choice for picking players, but that's not the case in the modern game. I think maybe Pep at Man City, he gets the final say. Maybe the lad at Liverpool, but all over the country, whether it's Brighton or Bournemouth or, but certainly Brighton, Bournemouth, but all over the country, Championship level, Sunderland, the manager. Sorry, there's no managers, very few managers. Coach, the number one coach might have a wee say in it, but he's dictated to and handed players that he has to coach and make better players. That's his job. That's his role. I'm not a fan of that. I preferred the days of Brian Clough when he picked the players and played the players, and his head was on the chopping block if it didn't go to plan. Coaches are getting sacked left, right, and centre, and they don't even bring players in and sell players. Tony Mowbray tells story at Sunderland. He was told to sell the centre half who he loved and adored and was great at his job and was player of the year the previous season. Get rid of him. I don't want to get rid of him. No, we're getting rid of him. Oh, we're getting rid of the winger. No, but I don't want rid of the winger. No, but we're getting rid of him. And you're getting him in and you're getting him in. So that's how modern. No wonder Wilder and Warnock couldn't stand it at Middlesbrough. I totally get it. And Warnock and Wilder played hundreds and hundreds of games, played as a player, coached as a coach, managed as a manager, been successful, managed in the top flights and the Championship. And then you get some guy who comes in, director of football, a title, who's never played, never managed, never coached, and he's getting new players. What qualifications do you need for that? And why do you not get sacked when you give the manager duffers or the coach duffers? I don't get the whole thing. Edwards is a charlatan. I like the charlatans. They're a band, aren't they? Blatant liar, turncoat, and hopefully sacked by next April. Steve, football's for them, I can assure you. That's why when I always talk about Tony Mowbray, he's a man of principles, morals, respect. He's got everything, and he's got it in abundance, and he's too nice for football. Where do you watch the match from, Bernie? The director's box. More comments? No, I don't. I watch it middle of the stadium with my old teammates. Today there was Craig Hignett, there was Big Jeff Winter, there was Stevie Vickers. Next game will be Johnny Henry, Matt Proctor. They're the guys I sit with. No, I don't sit in director's box. Away. I'm not a prawn sandwich man. Edwards is, yeah, I've read that. So would you try AD till the end of the season or maybe Mowbray? Rather than delve in, saying that I saw a lot, I said, we're only 15 games in. There's 46 games in a season. So there's still a lot of games to be played, a lot of damage to be done. Where do you match to watch from, Bernie? No, I don't. Class. Yeah. So listen, I'm sorry I didn't read these. I'll read these. Thanks for joining us. Well done, AD and the players and the fans. I thought you were all great today. I thought it was a really difficult game. It was easier than anticipated. I don't think it was a great spectacle. We huffed and puffed. We scored the goal. Fry, great header. Then they equalise. And then we get the second goal. But the work rate, the attitude, the mindset, closing down, harassing, rolled the sleeves up today. So well done, because it was a difficult position for the players and for the fans, of course, and for the coaching staff. Everybody felt it, but everybody, you go one or two ways. You either go up that way or you will, and we went up the way. So well done to the borough. I'll be back Monday, Tobias podcast, as I do every Monday. Up the borough. Well done. Cheers. Thank you.